Hmm.
Claire, I hope you made it here.
Let's beat the third submission for Resident Evil 2 2019, Leon B. Few more cutscenes to skip here, then Claire.
Not exactly how I pictured breaking this in.
And on the wall earlier, we saw a little poster that paid homage to the original Resident Evil. And unlike Claire, we don't want to get into caution, so we're just going to go ahead and use the grenade to get the zombies out of our way. Put a few things away because we don't need the 9mm that we have in our inventory by default, because all 9mm ammo has been replaced with the 45 ammo for the Colt 45 that Leon gets in the B route, and Claire gets a single action army. Valve handle where this fuse should go. Sound logic.
Hello? Is anybody here?
Pick up a safety herb here because we're about to enter into a hallway with a liquor. And try not to use our flashbang. So we get to access to the detonator a little bit earlier than we do on the A routes, which is really nice. So it'll open up the RPD much quicker than what would happen in the A route. And on Leon especially, we are not going to be using the spade key to its fullest extent. We're only going to be opening up one spade key door. Sure, we get the STARS office really, really early, as opposed to what we would see in the A route. Pick up some more flashbangs because we love flashbangs. And there's a few parts that are fairly difficult to deal with if you don't have a flashbang. incredibly poor luck there with the 3-shot staggers on these zombies, especially on standard difficulty. But we were fortunate enough that the lady cop zombie was not door camping. Because there are plenty of times when she loves to be right beyond that door that we came out of, and you have no choice but to run right into her arms. Well, you have a choice. You can tentatively open the door, but we don't want to try and do that. Because that is slow. Go a similar path to Claire B already. It will differ soon enough, though. We saw Marvin that, like, that's another thing that's really bad about the B routes, is that there's going to be 2 zombies that could potentially be camping the maiden statue downstairs. So we got to kind of keep a lookout for where they are at the bottom of these stairs. There have been many instances where I've had both stairs covered by them. And he's so kind and gracious enough to let you, you know, put the medallions in and fumble around the inventory for a second. Same deal for this boss battle like Claire. We're just gonna knife him.
Rick won't work on this thing. No choice. Gotta take it down.
Sadly, I didn't get the angle to where I could
Watching me.
knife him completely from the front. I wasn't hearing the knife hit enough times in order for me to get that, so I took a little safer to go around him so he wouldn't grab me, because the grab can eat up a lot of time. And then you have to finish him off with some bullets. It's not great. And I think I've been doing is actually on some corners it's called quick turning. There's 2 different ways of doing it. One is to quickly release the W key and hit one of the other keys like A, S, or D. Another is to hit aim in between those inputs. I find that to be a little bit, the timing to be a little bit hard at this point to do consistently. But I feel like there's kind of a divide at the moment as to whether or not it's faster. I've heard some swear that it's faster. I've heard others say it's not. So I haven't done enough testing to tell whether or not it is or isn't. But I can definitely say it's very satisfying to pull off. One of the most quintessential items that you'll ever have in a Resident Evil game. The square crank. even upped it to hexagonal, or hexagonal, excuse me, in the remake. Or the first remake. Then in RE3, it actually broke when you're trying to use it to open up the gas station. Although I think there was a brand new crank that you could find eventually that doesn't break, that you don't have to use the wrench to open. I'm unsure just because I feel like the only media I've consumed for that game is speedrun, so I've only ever seen them open it with the wrench. Here's where Leon's basement kind of gets a little bit interesting with all the dogs around. Even with the UG adults and liquors in this game, I would say that dogs are still my least favorite. And Leon gets to encounter them a lot more than Claire does. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, and it seems like he just made up for that really strange door barrier, I guess. It just seemed like he bounced off my back. But nothing we can't persevere through with the run. Throwing a flash because there's quite a number of zombies around here right now. And we'll be ignoring this spade key door on the left here because we don't need to go through there. This is our last use of the crank, so we'll go ahead and get rid of it. As we're passing by Chief Irons' office, which we will not go into because Leon actually cannot get the heart key. And casually, when I was playing this game, I was wondering why I couldn't go into those doors. And figuring out that the club key is exclusive to Leon and the heart key is for Claire only. Slight difference with Leon here is we get to go into that building right over there for our club key. Wait just a second so they can clear out, then we can sneak right on by. Another zombie that somehow has a skull made of steel. Very strange to see a zombie doesn't stagger within 1 or 2 shots on standard. And just like Claire, we're gonna go ahead and put this out. I'm gonna head to that door, or the room with the mechanical lever. We're going to take a little bit slightly different route with Leon here after we deal with Mr. X here. I was in the middle of another backing up animation. So instead of going to the right and go through the spade key door, we're going to go back here through the east hallway of the RPD. because we don't have the spade key, or we don't have the heart key, so we don't go through that door over there. Instead, we're gonna go back through this hallway. And now the Licker has some friends, another Licker, and some zombies. And I feel like just for this video, another zombie has spawned inexplicably, because I feel like I've only ever seen one zombie in that hallway. Touching that hall. Touching that door was supposed to allegedly despawn the Lickers, but apparently it has not. So we're gonna keep limping through the door and hopefully deal with Mr. X in a decent fashion. And we're gonna have to get this fast right here. Our first aid spray. It's not the best RPD too. Might actually have some decent library RNG right here. A little too slow. It's my fault. And just like Claire, we're going to be entering the clock tower to pick up our second electronic part by making a bell ring, because how else would you retrieve a part besides making a bell ring? You can hear Tyrant outside. Lovely little creature, because we get to go right back.
Hope I don't have to write a report on
Max,
this.
you hate Bell Bros, worst Dark Souls 2 faction. We get to perform a disappearing trick on Mr. X, because that floor is the best way to get down, but you can only use it once. And for Leon, we use it right there, because unlike Claire, our destination for the electrical parts is not Chief Irons' office, but it is in the basement. Go ahead and just consume one of our flashbangs here, because we don't want to take too much damage. A lot of people think, I've heard a lot of people say that Claire B is the hardest route, or hardest category, but personally I think this one is. 'Cause I feel like Leon's assortment of weapons is not as great as Claire's. Why are they the worst faction, though? The Bell Bros, Max? Out of curiosity. This is where where we get our parking permit from the reporter bin. Put in our first thought. So now we're gonna attempt some kind of crazy escape. So we're gonna come right up here, and we're gonna hopefully stagger him and him. Toss a flash, get grabbed. Everyone gets stunned, including Mr. X. And then we can get right on out of the prison. They can double team you. I gotcha. Rat Bros are superior. Wow. That's where you really want to save a flashbang. If you did not have a flashbang, probably the best way is to let them come to you a little bit. Flip a switch that's to your left.
Is that the intel you needed?
So that you can open up a little bit longer pathway that goes around all the zombies, but we don't want to go around them. We want to go through them. And the best way of doing that is with a flashbang. We couldn't do that if we didn't have one. And fortunately, we had one this time.
Going through that gun shop looks like the only way.
But yeah, Max, it's been a hot minute since I played Dark Souls 2, so I've kind of forgotten a lot of the factions.
What a mess.
'Cause I played as them just long enough to get the trophies and then quit out.
Heard of the Umbrella Corporation? They're a pharmaceutical company secretly making bioweapons. They have a virus. It turns people into indestructible monsters.
That explains the horrible things I've seen.
And that's why I'm looking for Annette. She's the one this is all about.
Based on what you've said, the sewer seems fitting. Gee, thanks. Can't imagine a real scientist being down here. Come on. Sewers are run by the city. How could they have a facility without the authorities knowing? Jesus! That an earthquake?
Coming up here is a fan favorite part from the original.
What the hell?
Well, a reimagined fan favorite. Because I do remember when the game was announced at E3 last year that
Again?
It's not too late to turn back.
the remake was actually happening and coming
Chance.
in January
This might be the
2019.
end.
And people had to ask, will there be an alligator?
Holy shit!
A little bit different than the original. Here is just an Uncharted set piece type sequence, whereas in the original we actually had to fight them.
Chew on that, you overgrown son of a bitch.
Leon, up here.
What the hell was...
Just get up here. Can't say I didn't warn you.
A little bit of an
You said the
auto-scroller
virus
section
turned
here.
People into monsters, not reptiles.
Not really much we can do to speed this up, besides just run to the elevator and wait for Ada. She sure does like to take her time, though.
So let me get this straight. Umbrella sells monsters like that to who? Our military? Somebody else's?
They don't sell the monsters. They sell the viruses that make them. And Annette is who makes the viruses. Scary as that alligator was, Annette is far more dangerous.
And something I kind of have not really mentioned because I don't really remember it too much is if you let the reticle go from being bloomed out all the way focused in, your gun will actually do more damage.
It's secret weapon time.
And of course, your gun becomes a lot more accurate as well for that one shot. And this is a little sequence for the partner character for the Leon campaign. Nothing too fancy. Running around doing some, well, I'd hesitate to call it hacking, as all we're doing is just turning the power on in certain places. Usually you can get by him without any problems, but it's not really necessarily that big of a deal because, very similar to Claire, Ada runs faster in caution, so because she has the same run animation as Claire does. But since this sequence is so short, it's actually not worth it to go into caution, I don't think anyway.
Always been good at running, Annette. You do that.
And here we're gonna face, or here at least, because we're not really gonna face him because we're just gonna hear Mr. X in the background. Because all we're gonna do is turn the power on, open the door, switch the power over here to this fan. So Mr. X is far, far too slow for us. I also find it very funny that the game sees fit to give you some ammo right there before that fan, because the minute you go through the fan is the point in time when you're going to have nothing to shoot. There is no enemies beyond that fan, so you are in no danger of dying at this part right here.
Bravo.
Here we're gonna have a lovely little conversation with Annette.
Alive now.
You'll never get your filthy hands on the G.
I'm not the only one after it. You realize that.
And you won't die alone.
One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that casually, you typically would just be holding down the fire button to do this, but if you click it as quick as you can, it actually will charge faster instead of just holding it down.
Visitor clearance confirmed. Your ID is authorized until October 1st. Please return before this date.
Not gonna happen.
Here we come back to Leon after he had been shot by Annette. Although our skin does not show it because we have selected a different skin. That's fine. take a strange little path in the sewers here, unlike in Claire, because unlike Claire, we're actually going to come and pass by the Rook plug that's just over there to the left, but we can't take it right now because we have no way of getting down that way. So we have to come this way first and come back for the Rook plug later. Grab a handy little knife. We also have the dubious honor of fighting the G-adults much, much quicker than Claire does.
What the hell? Cable car. Interesting.
I'm also quite jealous of Leon whenever I do Leon playthroughs versus Claire, because Leon comes in through here and it's completely clear. When Claire is in here, there are 3 zombies and it's- Leon just gets a pass. Although I guess Leon has just been shot, so technically he's kind of had a bad day already. Plus he's in the sewers, so his bullet wound's probably infected. This little intersection is a little bit sketchier on Leon as well, because the zombies are a little too far apart to just grenade all at once. That one construction when zombie is on the stairs, so we can't exactly get them all at once with a grenade. Plus there's a certain strat that we want to do later on that requires a lot of grenades, so we want to use as little as possible. Try and hug this wall so that we don't get stunned and subsequently grabbed by G-adults. I've done that so many times, trying to just cheat inward just ever so slightly when I should just be against the wall. And here's where we can come back and get that Rook plug. And we couldn't go through here because of this little safety lock that we can only open from that side. There's our Rook plug. Come over here and grab some more ammo, because we definitely want to have enough bullets for the next section. We're going to hope... Oh, actually, this guy's not going to despawn here like in the Claire route. He's going to be camping right there instead. Cut that corner a little too short. I don't know how that zombie got from the stairs all the way over there by crawling, but he did, so I won't question it too much. We do have the knife we use on G1 still. We don't need to drop it just yet. So if we get grabbed by something, we do have at least one get out of jail free card here, because we won't be picking up the equivalent, or the spark shot equivalent to Leon, for Leon,
God, this is
the
getting
flamethrower.
worse.
While it is a nice weapon and can make some parts a lot better, make him dive. Go stagger on that zombie. Now we're gonna go get our last 2 plugs that we need. So instead of going and getting that flamethrower, we're gonna try our best to not get bit by this guy, but just to be safe, we're gonna stagger him. That's fine. We're just gonna use that knife that we talked about earlier. And now lock them in. And we have plenty of ammo now to get back through the G-Adult alley. And hopefully the construction worker zombie will not be on the ledge. He is not. Good. Not great. Right, back up. We can't use this knife here, so we're gonna have to take the poison and try to limp our way back around. Right there. The only reason why I got grabbed is because I really thought I had enough room to the right side. I should have gone around to his left side instead. I just needed a little bit more time to get, or a little bit more room, and I could have gotten around him, but that was unfortunately just not the case. So we're gonna be stair skating a little bit slower because when you're poisoned, your character kind of does that, starts coughing a little bit and walking really slow. Take care not to wake him up. Because if you step on him, he does get up. We're going to be making our first and only box trip right now to get rid of the T-bar and the 2 keys. Now we're going to come to one of the most iffy fights of the game, G2 on the platform.
Okay, almost there, Ada.
For safety, we'll go ahead and just grab another heal, even though we should be fine with the one first aid spray that we have. So very much like Claire, we're gonna come over here and proc him to come down. Come over here, toss our grenade, and that will prompt him to come down immediately. I kinda wanna take a pot shot at him.
Still alive?
We're gonna take things a little bit differently than in the Claire route. So we have to hit the button, pick up the one flash grenade we're gonna be using this fight. Flash. Unfortunately, I was a little slow in getting here, so this will be a little interesting to do. So all we're gonna do is to sit here, knife him a little bit. He's gonna get up here really soon, which is not the best.
Now I got you.
But we're gonna bait him back over here. And he should be stunned long enough here in that animation to get one and get pushed off.
Let's hope that's the last of them.
Leon with his wishful thinking about it being the last of Birkin. Not the cleanest fight of G2.
The cable car will take us down to Nest. My wristbands are ticket to ride.
Nice. Where'd you get that?
Borrowed it. Anyway, we're almost there.
No, we don't have a PB yet, Phil. We definitely do not have a PB just yet. If you're fast enough, you can actually get in front of Ada there.
This may be a one-way ride, so be prepared.
This tram is bound for Nest. Do not exit until the final destination.
So here we're entering the lab for the first time.
For your safety, stand clear until the doors are fully open. For your safety,
Very
stand
similar
clear
setup to how we're gonna
until the
run
doors are fully
do
open.
Claire, except we are not carrying Ada into that rest area up ahead. So we're gonna go into the cafeteria first for the wristband upgrade, a grenade, and a knife.
Our menu is designed for your nutritional needs using our latest biological research. Please enjoy our tasty selection of healthy foods.
Let's go ahead and use the knife. That's a little bit weak.
Dr. Lee, your
Okay.
presence is urgently
Wonder where the
requested by
G-virus
Chief
is.
Cartwright in the East area.
And because it's the B playthrough, we have the signal modulator just over here, very conveniently. Actually, I forgot. Supposed to come in here and grab the shotgun, which is where this is where it pops up in this B playthrough. If you skip it in the RPD. A little bit of a time loss there, but not incredibly bad. Thankfully, I wasn't too far along before remembering it. I recall being on a really good PB pace once on a Claire B run, and I had forgotten the Spark Shot upgrade, which is very, very much desired, because the Spark Shot upgrade is what makes it a viable weapon against the G2. Or 3, excuse me. I was quite furious with myself at that, because I actually did get a PB that time, and I
Dispe-
Reluctantly submitted it. Same deal here with Leon. We're just gonna come over here, enter this, and it's the same code in the B route. You start with blue, you hit red, green, and then you keep repeating until it's full. Or those people who are colorblind, you go right, middle, left, right, middle, left, right, middle, left. They're starting to look a little bit like Uryo Mochi, the tofu in the Tofu Survivor that has a bunch of grenades as his weapons. And all that is for G3, all of it. Signal modulator just a little bit different than what it is. Let's go one to the right and 3 up, and you're good to go.
Welcome back, Dr. Lee. You have 5 new messages.
Instead of forgetting the parka,
Who left the freezer open?
we just accused someone of leaving a freezer open.
Cooling complete.
A very similar setup to the Claire B run. We're just gonna try to throw this flashbang as late as possible. Like right here. And we can run right on by. And hopefully before they recover from their stun, get through the door. Fairly decent RNG with just one here. We can just do one shotgun blast and get right by. We don't want them to grab us because we need everything in our arsenal right now. We need the knives, we need the grenades.
That did the trick.
Warning. You have dispersed a dangerous solution without authorization. Your actions have been logged. And you may be subject.
And here we actually get to meet our good old friend Mr. X one more time. And it's not fair because Leon does not run into a vine zombie there. That actually was probably some really good RNG. I think I could have actually gone right by both of them without shooting, but I wanted to take a safer route there.
Hopefully the G-SAM is up there.
Here I'm just going to make sure that I have enough ammo because I feel like I am missing a few shells. So we're gonna mix up a few more shells before this G3 fight. Gonna be a little bit different than what we did on Claire. Mostly because we don't have our spark shot.
All right, now back to Ada.
Attention. Unauthorized removal of a level 4 virus detected. Facility lockdown initiated.
So hopefully we can get this done pretty quickly. Come up here. Shoot his leg eye out. Shoot the back eye. Kind of bait him out just a little bit. He decides to jump back for some reason. I don't know why. Rarely ever does that to me. But just like Claire, we're going to assume the optimal knife position and start knifing him from behind so it hits a lot of his limbs. He's standing up a little too early for me, so unfortunately we're going to have to back off a little bit. We need to use these grenades up anyway. Unfortunately, the invincibility animation wasn't long enough to last through there. Not a great fight, because he's about to grab this wall. And he's actually invincible while he's doing that. So we're going to come over here. Oh, grab this grenade. No, the grenade's over there. I just want to show him who's boss. We'll just do that. Fairly bad audible there, because I definitely did not have enough shotgun shells after his transition into phase 3 to finish him off, because he got up a little bit too early than what he really should do. Because ideally, you would have stayed down for probably about another 10 seconds to get about maybe 15% more damage on him. Because ideally, what you want is probably around 40-ish% when you start the grenade assault. Whereas for me, right there, he was around 60. Here we have our escape sequence. It starts a little bit sooner than Claire's, but it's incredibly similar. We're gonna be running in a caution state because we don't want to use that fast right now, because our final date with Tyrant is going to be a little bit interesting. So shoot that wall, and the vine zombie turns around, so we can just run right on by him, instead of actually having to aim and shoot him in his bulbs. Very fun little trick to kind of have them go, "Made you look." And here's our favorite buddy.
Is this a fucking joke?
bait the punch, right on by. And instead of going to the train platform, we're gonna have a cutscene where we actually fall through the floor and we come to a different elevator.
Until detonation.
We get a very similar plug that Claire does, but we're gonna use it to power up this elevator, where we're gonna fight Final Tyrant, whose weakness is a knife and slow strafing around his right side. Lost track of him there, so that was my fault. This fight's actually an auto-scroller. Doing damage to him actually just speeds up the process. And I believe I've done enough damage so I can just run around now a little bit and not actually damage him anymore. It's around 640 is when the rocket launcher should drop. 640, 630, depending on when he does his little charge. Misread that. Should be preparing his charge right now. Maybe right here. Might actually look like I'm talking. I know what I'm talking about. There it is. So we shoot him, knock him out of his charge, and now once he recovers, we should get the animation for the rocket launcher. A little bit. A little poor there. Here we get a nice little victory lap though.
Line at the bottom level.
Door's gonna open up, bunch of zombies. In a very cathartic way to just go ahead and blast your way right through those zombies. And we get to fight G5 for the last time. Very similar to how it's handled in Claire B. We're just gonna stand here and wait.
You got a problem with death? You want more bullets? Be my guest.
I kind of want to see how much damage it does with the on the eye with this rocket launcher, so we'll find that out right here real quick.
Christ!
Two anti-rocket launchers for what? So not a terrible run. Could definitely have been a lot better. But we had ample opportunities to recover it still. This is my first day back to this run to make this submission video. So definitely can make it a lot cleaner before the event. And on to the last one, Leon A.